Welcome to a show so big, we make the universe look small. This week, we're coming to you courtesy of Gargash Motors on Shakeside Road, where it's all about the Alfa. We'll be testing the Alfa Romeo 159. Also coming up in this week's show, what are they driving? Well, this time it's a turn of a very well-known novelist out here. She's written 3 books, all entitled Hakima's Tale. I am, of course, talking about Deirdre L. Stevenson. And of course, we do have road safety. But first, the Alfa Romeo. Now, I have an opinion about most things, even more so about the Alfa Romeo range. I'm very opinionated about it. There are things that I really want to get off my chest. So, how do you think the 159 fared? Let me ask you a serious question. How many actors are there in the world? I'm talking total actors. From amateur dramatics, your TV actors, your Bollywood actors, and of course, Hollywood actors. There are literally millions. And while some actors work hard for what they want, they will never be anything more than amateur dramatics. They'll never get the recognition they deserve. But if you go to a movie that you've never heard of, that you don't know what it's about, and you hear the name Will Smith, for example, you know you're going to see a sure-fired hit. Last week, I was testing the Lamborghini range. The Will Smith, if you like, of the motoring industry. If you turn up and you know you're going to test a Lamborghini, it's a surefire thing. The next day, here at the City 7 in Gear offices, my production manager, Usman, turned up with an Alfa Romeo 159. This. You see, if Alfa was producing movies, it would be very unlikely that they would be producing an epic, something that would win Oscars. Most of what they would produce would perhaps end up in the DVD discount bin at the local Carrefour. The thing is, with the exception of the Honor perhaps, I actually like the Alfa range. In the West, it's always been said that you can't call yourself a petrol head unless you've owned one. It's like a rite of passage, if you will. It's like having that great big meal that's so tasty, so delicious, it fills you up, but you still want more. Let's have a look at the GT V6, for example. A highly impractical, uncomfortable car with steering so heavy, it's like trying to steer a donkey into a small budgie cage. However, behind the scenes, under the bonnet, was a powerful engine with enough torque to make it go. It's like one of those art house German films that the critics love to talk about, but it doesn't appeal to the everyday person. That's how I see Alfa. And I've got to admit, I thought the Alfa Romeo 159 was going to be the same. What I'm trying to say is Alfa understand the thrill of driving, but they've never really come up with something that can back up their understanding, something that appeals to the masses, something that is understood by everybody and everybody wants to drive it. As soon as you get into it, there's little things like the boot release. You see, I'm a discovery learner. When I get hold of these cars, I sit in the car and I have a look around. I have a play with things. And I just can't find the boot release. No matter where I look, I know there's one on the keyring, but the key has to go into the ignition. Once it's in there, it's locked away. I can't find it. Even when I went through this, the dreaded manual that I never touch, I still couldn't find the boot release. Maybe there's not one here. Little things annoy me, like the position of the cruise control. I was driving down one area of Emirates Road. The traffic began to slow down. I wanted to turn it off, and instead I signaled left because of the position that it's in. But you know what? Honestly, These things fade into the background because when you sit and you get inside and make yourself comfortable in a 159, you feel as though it's a little bit different. The next time you're considering a mid-range, sporty, four-door car, don't walk past this one. I mean, have a look from the outside. Look at those triple headlamps. Everything is perfectly proportioned. It's far better than any of the rivals from Audi, Mercedes, even Jaguar. And inside, it's even better with a perfect driving position. The dials look like they've come from a very expensive Swiss watch. The leather, well, the leather feels as though you're sitting in something that would cost the same as, I don't know, a Rolls Royce. But it doesn't. The 159 Lusso, which is the highest spec one, is reasonably priced. Another aspect with regards to the seating position is the way the console almost wraps around the driver. It's like it's going back to when Kit, remember that? Knight Rider ruled the TV in the weekly episode when Michael Knight would sit in his car and the computer console was directly pointing towards him. That's how this feels. But the top prize for me goes to the air conditioning. Now, I'm normally quite critical of European cars and air conditioning, but in the front here, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outlets of air conditioning. There are 2 in the back, and it means that the passengers in the back can also have access to climate control. And I've got to say, even though there's a lot of them, it doesn't mean it works, but here it does. I'm sitting in the humid conditions of the in-gear car park, and I feel pretty much okay. Could it be that Alfa Romeo, in building the 159, have produced something that is okay, that is drivable? There's only one way to find out whether a car is any good or not. We need to drive it. You're looking at some of the statistics of the Alfa Romeo 159, including the slashed down price. Now remember, we are coming to you this week courtesy of Gargash Motors on Sheikh Zayed Road, where you can come along and have a look at the Alfa Romeo. Remember, we'd like you too to keep in touch with us. Drop us a line at ingear@city7tv.com. Get in touch and also drop us a line at our Facebook group, simply called In Gear. Find out what we're doing each and every day, every week, by logging onto Twitter and typing in #InGear. You'll be able to see what we're doing right now. Another thing on Twitter is you can just follow me direct, Adam Kechil, no space. And do remember, if you've missed any of the shows or want to watch them again because you're about to buy a car, you can now go onto YouTube. Simply type in Gear TV show and you'll find us. Alternatively, type in, once again, Adam Kechil. Don't go away, we'll be back after the break.